out tonight.
Yeah, the president initially said that he was going to give Iran 2 weeks. He was going to wait 2 weeks to decide whether or not he was going to move forward with these strikes. And the president really evolving on this over the last several days. I will tell you that I spoke to the president a week ago, and he said it was possible that the U.S. could strike. But at that point, it was not something that they were going to move forward with. And then we saw the president come back from the G7 summit very early. The president meeting then with his national security advisors in the Situation Room day after day. We were told by sources at that time that he was warming up to this idea of the possibility that the U.S. would now be involved. And this is something that the president has, in fact, decided to move forward with, as he announced tonight on social media, on Truth Social. Now, a senior administration official that I just spoke to told me that the White House, the Trump administration, did give Israel a heads up. I am also told that the president did speak directly with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after these strikes were carried out. It cannot be understated here. I was told by sources this week that Netanyahu was putting a lot of pressure on the president himself for the U.S. to get involved, that this is exactly what Israel wanted to see. This has, though, created quite the divide, I will tell you, here in Washington and within the Republican Party, because this is the most consequential thing that the president has done yet. But he also campaigned, even in his inaugural address, on being a peacemaker, on ending war. Not having the U.S. be involved in foreign conflicts. Now the president announcing tonight that the U.S. has moved forward with this direct involvement, and we are waiting for him to address the nation in just under 30 minutes.
Rachel Scott for us, thank you. And more on that division. Let's go to Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill. Jay, you're getting word on who was briefed and who wasn't ahead of this attack. We know that there are some very different opinions, even within the Republican Party, on whether or not this strike should have even been carried out.
Yeah, and we just heard from Rachel there. So Rachel and I have both heard from multiple congressional Republicans who say they were briefed. John Thune, top Republican in the Senate, saying he was briefed ahead of this military action. A source close to Speaker Mike Johnson saying the same. We've also learned that Rick Crawford, the top Republican on the Intelligence Committee, saying that he was in touch with the White House ahead of this action. But we're hearing from Democrats at this hour who say they were not briefed until this operation was already underway. Now, there's something called the Gang of Eight. That is the leaders of both parties in the House and the Senate, and then the top Republicans and top Democrats on the intelligence committees in both the House and the Senate. Typically, with an action like this, the Gang of Eight is all briefed at once, either together or separate. Chuck Schumer, the top Democrat in the Senate, is that they seem to say that they learned about this operation after their Republican colleagues say they were briefed on this. So still very much unclear in the timing of all of this, but certainly something that we continue to look into as these Republicans say they got this heads up and Democrats saying they didn't.
Jay O'Brien for us, thank you. I want to get back to Ian Panel in Tel Aviv. Ian, we were looking at the live pictures earlier. So far, the skies above Tel Aviv have been quiet, but no doubt many people there anticipating retaliation in the days to come.
Yeah, I think that has been a major concern for Israel ever since it launched this campaign. The Home Front Command, which basically issues guidelines for how people should conduct themselves, has just upped its state of readiness, its alert level to the fullest, telling people they should not go to work, they should not go very far from bomb shelters, which are multiple across the country. People should not go to school. People should restrict their activities until they get further instruction. So I think it's fair to say that everyone here is certainly braced for some kind of adverse reaction from Iran. But as you've been pointing out yourself, Whit, the skies have been relatively quiet. Now, there's been speculation earlier this week that perhaps Iran was running low on its missile store. A military official talking to ABC News just on Friday said that they felt that they had essentially neutralized 50% of Iran's capability to fire missiles. That doesn't necessarily mean the missile stores themselves, but the ability to fire them at Israel. It now has drones over the sky. It controls the skies. It has fighter jets up there. For example, the drone attacks, around 1,000 have come from Iran. They've all been intercepted, according to Israeli officials, using attack helicopters, using the Iron Dome air defense system, and other resources in the region. We have the US THAAD air defense system that's been in operation. But we still think that something in the region of 10 to 15% of Iranian missiles are getting through. There's some indication that some of those missiles have new technology or technology that hasn't been used, whereby they split upon impact. So in other words, creating multiple warheads. But yes, I think everyone will be expecting some kind of response. But Iran has been on the back foot ever since that audacious lightning strike by Israel that initiated this conflict. Now the United States has joined in this war. We have to wait and see what the reaction is. We were reporting just a few hours ago that US military have been helping evacuate US diplomats and their families from Israel over the last 24, 48 hours or so. We know that diplomatic missions, even